Shalom and good day all, this is Tehillim29 back again for another DC comic review, this time consisting of Titans United and 'tis the season to be freezing. So the first comic that I'll be reviewing will be Titans United, and then I'll be moving on to 'tis the season. So starting off with first things first, in regards to the cover, does this cover in any way, shape or form connect to something that is happening inside of the story? Sure enough, it does, to which I give this cover a 7.5 out of 10. I'll now move into the internal art, to which I'll show you some art around the beginning, middle and end of story, before I move into the story racing. So starting off with the first, we've got some artwork as well as some of the team that is presently working in this series. And we've got Donna Troy, of course, Beast Boy, Red Hood, Nightwing, of course that is Connor, with Blackfire, and here we return to the middle of the story, and we've got one of the villains that takes out Starfire, and then there's a bit of a reversal there, and last but not least, towards the end of the story, to which we see Donna Troy be struck out. And what's happened to Connor here? For the internal art, I gave it a 7.5. Now it's time to jump into the story. As you know, to those who follow the channel, there are certain things that I personally enjoy in my storytelling. Starting off with first things first. Were there any comic references? No, there wasn't, but did it affect the rating? No, it didn't. Next thing I like to cover is time. Did they actually cover when these time events were taking place? No, they didn't. But did it affect the storyline? Not the story rating, not so much. But what did we get? We did get the Martin Manor at Sussex in the UK, which relates to one of the characters that appeared in the story, and also last but not least San Francisco, to which we saw a bit of a connection to the Titans Tower. The cast of characters consisting of Starfire, Nightwing, Red Hood, Beast Boy, Donna Troy, Blackfire, Connor, who is the Superboy in this, Lady Vic, and last but not least, Raven. Overall, I quite enjoyed this story, and I'm looking forward to when this series begins to end. I think this story will probably be missed after it goes. So the story rating for this particular issue is 7.5 out of 10. Good job. I look forward to reading more. Now it's time to move on 'tis the season. Now it's time to start a review on 'tis the season to be freezing. And jumping right in for the cover rating, does this cover in any way, shape or form connect to something that happens inside of the story? Not so much, but I do enjoy the cover, to which I gave it a 7 out of 10. It does connect to some of the characters that do appear in some of the stories, but not all of the stories. Now, as you can see here, this has about 8 stories overall, to which I have my story ratings for both the story and the art. But before I do that, I'd like to at least try to show some of the art in connection to some of the stories. Already with this first story, you can get to see where it centers on. And of course, we've got one of the Robins there. I'm not going to say which Robin it is because you might have to pick it up for yourself. But I did actually quite enjoy the story for it. So, seeing that all practically covers the some of the art around the first story, I'm now going to find a random place to show something around one of the next stories. I'm not saying which story it's from, but I'll try to find like a few places and then bring us back for the actual reviews of the stories as well as the art. I'll just let you soak that up and enjoy that before I move on to the next lot of art. Alright, seeing that I'm now done with showing the art to you in relation to this, I will now go into the rating of each story. The first one having to do with Robin and Mr. Freeze, I gave a 7.5 out of 10 for the story. The art I gave a 7 out of 10. For Vixen and the Super Pets, I gave a 7 out of 10. For story and also the art. For the third story, which actually links to Bizarro, I gave a 6.5 out of 10 for both story and art. For the Firestorm and Killer Frost, I gave a 7 out of 10 for both story and art. Moving into the next one, Polar Boy, also 7 out of 10 for both story and art. Harley Quinn, the story got a 6.5 from me, but the art got a 7. For the Flash and Captain Cold story, it got a 7 out of 10 from me. In regards to story and art. And last but not least, the JLQ in Break the Ice. The story got a 6.5 out of 10 from me. It felt like it needed a little bit more time to flesh out the characters. But I did enjoy the art and I gave it a 7 out of 10. Well, until then, let's keep it colourful and have yourself an awesome day.